Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us for an AADL Storytime. My name is Elizabeth. I am super excited to be telling my first story time of the new year today. And we are going to get started and say hello to everyone like we usually do. So let's get our hands ready. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as fast as we can. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as slow as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as high as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as low as we can. Hello. Couple more. Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as loud as we can. Hello! Bread and butter, marmalade and jam. Let's say hello as soft as we can. Great job, everyone, and thanks again for being here today. Can I see your fingers? Open them, shut them, open them, shut them. Give a little clap, clap, clap. Open them, shut them, open them, shut them. Lay them on your lap, lap, lap. Creep them, creepy, creepy, creep them right up to your chin, chin, chin. Open wide your little mouth, ah, but do not let them in. Shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them. Just like this, this, this. Roll them, roll them, roll them, roll them. Blow a little kiss. Great job, everybody. All right, let's find out what our letter of the day is. Now, if you happen to see my last story time, which was a few weeks ago in December, we did chicken stories, and I mentioned that I love chicken stories so much that I couldn't fit all the chicken stories that I like into one story time, so we would have to do another chicken story time. So our letter of the day today is, of course, the letter C. And the C stands for chickens. We have chickens part 2 today. So before we get started, let's take our stretch. Big stretch out wide. Oh, that feels extra good today. Big stretch up tall. Give yourself a hug. Tap your knee. Tap your nose. Tap the top of your head. Ah, too hard. Tap your belly. Reach across. Reach the other way. Reach both ways at the same time and let your arms come forward, and then out wide again. How far back can you get them? Up, up, up. One more big breath. All right. We are going to start with a book today. What did I do with it? Aha. That was one of my favorites when I was your age. My mom used to read it to me. And it's a little bit of a longer story, but the pictures are really funny. And so I thought it might be a good fit to try it while we're doing our story times at home like this. So this one is called Xenia and Dot. And this is by Lisa Campbell Ernst. If you want to check this book out, we do have it in our collection at the library, so you could check it out and take it home. Two hens, Xenia and Dot, lived in an old chicken coop. Both were very vain. You would think that since they spent most of their time alone, they would have been friends. But they were not. In fact, they rarely spoke to one another. One morning, Xenia broke the silence. My new eggs are the most beautiful in the world, she said with a long, slow drawl. They are as smooth as silk. Dot raised her chicken eyebrows. No, my dear, she clucked. My eggs are the most beautiful. They shimmer like pearls. Oh, mine are like alabaster, said Xenia. Oh, mine are as pure as the new fallen snow, crooned Dot. On and on the chickens fussed, each insisting that they had the loveliest, most brilliant, most perfect eggs. Of course, my chicks will hatch to be as gorgeous as their mother, Dot said. At last, she jumped to the coop floor and strutted in the sunlight. Well, Xenia was not to be outdone. She fluttered across, sorry, it's a little hard for me to read, the hay, displaying her brilliant feathers. What beautiful chicks I will have, she said. The hens were so busy admiring themselves that they did not notice who sat at the chicken coop window. It was a weasel. Passing by, he had heard them bragging and stopped to see what might develop. All happened just as he hoped, and the weasel now saw his chance. So the chickens are busy arguing about who's the most beautiful, and the weasel sees an opportunity. Crash! The weasel burst through the window. Wildly racing through the chicken coop, he overturned nests and scattered straw. It was poultry pandemonium. Then, just as suddenly as the weasel had appeared, he was gone. Xenia and Dot picked themselves up. The air was perfectly still. All seemed to be as it was before, but returning to their nests, the two chickens gasped. Their eggs were gone. Oh, this is all your fault, each hen accused the other. You were the one who started it, Dot shouted. I never would have left my nest if you hadn't been showing off, Xenia shot back. Behind them, there was a gentle bump and the sound of something rolling. Xenia and Dot turned around. There, in the middle of the floor, was one last egg. Two chicken voices shrieked at once. That's my egg! Oh, what a fight now began. Xenia knew without a doubt that it was her egg. Dot was just as certain that it was hers. Each refused to admit that the egg could possibly belong to the other. Finally, two mourning doves at the window interrupted. "Please," called one of them, "that poor egg is getting cold. If you don't come to an agreement soon, there will be no chick to argue over. Maybe you could share it." Dot and Xenia eyed each other suspiciously. Share? Never. Still, the egg was getting cold. "Fine," Xenia said. "I will sit on it first, and then you may." No. Me first," said Dot. "Then you." Sharing was not something that either Xenia or Dot did well. "Oh, when the egg hatches, the baby will look just like me," Dot declared. "Then we will know whose egg it is." "Yes, we will know," Xenia snapped, "because it will look like me, because it is my egg." Finally, even these two grew weary of quarreling, each knowing that nothing would ever change the other's mind. An icy silence filled the air. Days passed. The mourning doves sometimes stopped by the chicken coop to see how the hatching was progressing. There Xenia and Dot sat, unmoving, refusing to even acknowledge that the other was there. "Why not entertain one another?" suggested one dove. "Sing some songs, tell some stories." "Ha!" cried Xenia. "The only story I'll tell is about me and my baby chick." "Oh no," Dot hissed back. "I will be the one with the baby chick." Again the hens sat in silence, brooding over what lay ahead. Now all this time the weasel had been thinking about just one thing, the egg he left behind. And the longer he thought about it, the more he could not rest until he had returned to claim it. "While I'm there, I might as well feast on those two old hens too," he growled, setting out for the chicken coop. Uh-oh, what do you think's going to happen? Well, the two old hens, meanwhile, grew more irritable with each passing second. They only spoke to complain. "Stop humming, stop wiggling, move over." Tempers were short. And that is when the fly buzzed through the broken window. Bzzz, around and around and around he buzzed again and again until each hen thought she would scream. When the fly buzzed past Dot's beak, Xenia flung out her wing. Xenia missed the fly. Xenia hit Dot. "That does it!" Dot shrieked. She jumped to the floor, dragging Xenia with her. The weasel saw his chance. Crash! Through the window he came. At first, Xenia and Dot froze. Then they turned on the weasel. "Stop him!" shouted Dot. "Don't let him near the nest!" screeched Xenia. One jumped on the weasel's back, the other on his head. They seemed all beaks and claws. Squawk! Cluck! Yelp! The weasel leapt and rolled and snapped, but he could not get rid of the battling chickens. He struggled back to the broken window, jumped out, and disappeared. The exhausted hens collapsed on the coop floor. "We did it," Dot said. "We scared the weasel away." Xenia shook her head. "Oh, who could have thought we could be so brave?" The hens, giddy from their victories, cackled as they sat back down on the nest. "One hen could never have done it," declared Dot. For once, Xenia agreed. "Lucky we both were here," she said. The thought made both of the hens cackle again. "Shh! Listen," Dot whispered. A tiny tap, tap, tap could be heard underneath them. "Our egg!" they shouted. Dot and Xenia huddled at the edge of the nest, watching. First, tiny cracks appeared on the egg. Time passed. The hours seemed like days. At last, pieces of shell fell off one at a time, and finally the egg fell apart. A wet, bony, very naked-looking baby chick emerged. "He's beautiful," gasped Xenia. He's gorgeous, agreed Dot. Xenia leaned closer. His beak looks just like yours, she declared. But his feet look just like yours, insisted Dot. The baby chick cheeped back at the 4 eyes above him. Beep, beep, beep. He's perfect, Dot and Xenia sang. Never before was a baby chick so loved, growing up with not one, but 2 mother hens. That's not to say Xenia and Dot always got along. They didn't, but they did learn to be friends. And on the most important thing, their baby, they agreed 100%. He was the loveliest, most brilliant, most perfect chick in the world. And that was all that really mattered. The end. Nice listening, everybody. I hope you liked that one. It's one of my favorites. No, it's a little longer, but fun one from my childhood. All right, we're going to launch right into the next story to make sure we have time for everything. And this one is called An Extraordinary Egg. And I always have a little trouble with this flannel, so hopefully you can see it okay. Let me just get organized. Geez. This is An Extraordinary Egg, and it comes from a book by Leo Leone. On Pebble Island, there lived 3 frogs. There was Marilyn, August, and one who was always somewhere else. And that frog's name was Jessica, and she was full of wonder. She would go on long walks way to the other end of the island where the frogs lived and return at the end of the day shouting, "Look what I found! Look what I found!" And even if it was nothing but an ordinary little rock, she would say, "Isn't it extraordinary?" But Marilyn and August were never impressed. One day, buried in a mound of stones, Jessica found a stone that stood out from all the rest. It was perfect, white like snow and round like the full moon. Even though it was almost as big as she was, Jessica decided to bring it home. Oh, I wonder what Marilyn and August will say when they see this, Jessica thought as she carried the thing, whatever it was, back to where the frogs lived. "Look what I found!" she shouted. "It's a huge pebble!" This time, Marilyn and August were truly astonished. Wow. Ooh. "That is not a pebble," said Marilyn, who knew everything about everything. "It is an egg. A chicken egg." "A chicken egg? How do you know it's a chicken egg?" asked Jessica, who had never even heard of a chicken. Marilyn smiled. "There are some things that you just know." A few days later, the frogs heard a noise coming from the egg. They watched in amazement as the egg cracked open and out crawled a long, green, scaly creature. "See?" Marilyn exclaimed. "I was right. It's a chicken! A chicken!" they all shouted. The chicken took a deep breath, grunted, gave each of the astonished frogs a look, and said in a small, raspy voice, "Where is there some water?" "Straight ahead, that way, the frogs all shouted. Well, they followed behind as the chicken made her way to the water and dove in. The frogs watched. Wow, the chicken was a very good swimmer. She showed the frogs new ways to float and paddle and splash. They had a wonderful time together and played from sunup to sundown. And so it went for many days. Then, one day, when Jessica was somewhere else, August and Marilyn saw a commotion in the water below them. Someone was in trouble. The chicken dove in to the dark pool. August and Marilyn were frightened. After a few long moments, the chicken reemerged with Jessica. "I'm all right," she called. "I got tangled in the weeds when I was diving and looking for pebbles." Oh, they were all so relieved. One day, they were all playing when a red and blue bird hopped down from the tree. "There you are," it said when it saw the chicken. "Your mother has been looking all over for you. Come, I'll take you to her." So they followed the red and blue bird for a very long time. They walked and walked, the sun set and the moon rose. Oh, and then they came upon the most extraordinary creature they had ever seen. When the chicken saw it, he called "Mother!" and he hopped right onto her nose. "There you are, my sweet little alligator. Now I'm so happy to have found you." Well, the frogs waved goodbye to their friend the chicken. They said that they were so happy to have met him, especially Jessica. And as they walked away, they could not believe what had happened. The chicken's mother had been so extraordinary. Oh, they couldn't believe they'd found the chicken's mother. "But you know what's so funny?" Jessica said. "When the chicken's mother saw him, she called him a little alligator." And the frogs laughed and laughed and laughed. The end. Great job, everybody. That's another fun chicken story. Let me just get this put away, and we're going to do one more story today. If you need to get a few wiggles out, now's a good time to shake them out. Shake your arms a little, shake your legs a little, maybe stand up and jump up and down a few times before our last story. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, we have time. Perfect. All right, this is another favorite. I know I say that about all the chicken stories, but it's really true. This one, my little friend is going to help us out with. This is Interrupting Chicken. And this is by David Ezra Stein. It was bedtime for little chicken. Hi, that's me. Okay, my little chicken, said Papa. Are you all ready to go to sleep? Can you see okay? Here we go. Oh, yes, Papa, but you forgot something very important. Oh, what's that? Asked Papa. A bedtime story. All right, said Papa. I'll read one of your favorites. And of course, you're not going to interrupt the story, are you? Oh, no, Papa, I'll be good. All right, here we go. Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel were very hungry. Deep in the woods, they found a house made of candy. Nibble, 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 they began to eat the house until the old woman who lived there came out and said, What lovely children! Why don't you come inside? They were just about to follow her when... Out jumped a little chicken and she said, "Don't go in there, she's a witch." So Hansel and Gretel didn't go in. The end. Chicken. Yes, Papa? You interrupted the story. Try not to get so involved. Oh, I'm sorry, Papa, but she really was a witch. Well, you're supposed to be relaxing so you can go to sleep. Let's try another story. I'll be good. All right. This is Little Red Riding Hood. Take this basket of goodies to Grandma, said Little Red Riding Hood's mother. But don't stray from the path. The woods are full of danger. Red Riding Hood skipped along through the deep woods. By and by she met a wolf who wished her good morning. She was about to answer him when... Out jumped a little chicken who said, "Don't talk to strangers," so she didn't. The end. Chicken? Yes, Papa? You did it again. You interrupted the story. And you're not even sleepy. Oh, I know, Papa, I'm sorry, but he was a mean old wolf. Yes, now get back into bed. Okay, Papa, let's try one more little story and I'll be good. All right, Chicken Little. Ooh, chicken, Chicken Little. Chicken Little was hit on the head by an acorn. The sky is falling, she thought. She was about to run off and warn Goosey Lucy, Ducky Lucky, Henny Penny, and everyone on the farm that the sky was falling when... Out jumped a little chicken and she said, "Don't panic, it was just an acorn," so Chicken Little didn't panic. The end. Chicken. Yes, Papa? You did it again. Oh, Papa, I couldn't let a little chicken get all upset over an acorn. Please read one more story and I promise I'll be good. But Chicken, said Papa, we're out of stories. Oh, Papa, I can't go to sleep without a bedtime story. Oh, then, said Papa, yawning, why don't you tell me a story? Oh, me? Tell a story? Said the little red chicken. Little chicken. Okay, Papa, here we go. Bedtime for Papa by Chicken. Once there was a little chicken who put her papa to bed. She read him 100 stories. She even gave him warm milk, but nothing worked. He stayed wide awake all... Oh. Papa? Good night, Papa. Little chicken put her papa to sleep. All right, thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. I tried to fit in a ton of stories, so sorry if you got a little wiggly, but thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.